Now, why in the world would anybody want to build a Ford Taurus SHO billet block?
That guy.
Yo, I'm so excited. Where's it at? Where's it at? Oh no. That's not a good sign. Oh shit.
Holy shit! The car was even celebrating.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am at work right now, so for the guys that don't know, I am a Snap-on Tools representative, franchise, whatever you want to call it. I sell tools, right? So I just got a message from my wife, and I am leaving work right now because we have something really exciting that just got dropped off at the house. All right, guys, we have made it into the dually. I'm getting ready to pull it home. Let's see where they drop this big old package. Oh no. That's not a good sign. Oh my God. Guys, as you can tell, this is my billet block.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
This could be really bad. So obviously I have some explaining to do. Unless you're following me on Instagram, Blue Turd Taurus, you probably have no clue what you just saw. So 2 years ago, we were at World Cup Finals, import versus domestic, and I was hanging out with a couple of the Speed Factory guys, and that's when we made the introduction to Bullet Race Engineering. And Bullet Race Engineering makes some of the fastest billet blocks in the game. They make everything from 2JZs. Oh! So close! Oh, you lunched me! Over 785. They make a lot of blocks, and they're also based out of Australia, and I really do consider them to probably be at the top of the billet block game. So with the help of Speed Factory, we got a block sent down to Australia where he went ahead and started off modeling. Writing a CNC program and cutting this block all in-house and shipping it all the way to America for us. All right, well, my buddy Kyle just got here. We're getting ready to show him what we got in this package. He's also gonna help me film a little bit in the background. So, bro,
what's happening?
Good to see you, man.
Good to be here, bro.
You ready to see this?
Bro, I'm so hyped right now. Like, it amazes me how, just how far this car has come over the years, man. And no joke, being someone to watch it go from day one, out there having fun on Barrett Parkway with full interior to now.
Yeah, you've been here since day one.
Day one.
Literally day one. 12 years ago, Barrett Parkway, yes. Street race days, Yes,
this car, dude, y'all don't even know. This is genuine right now. This is genuine.
Totally genuine.
I'm so hyped.
All right, so I want to tell you something first. I got the box over here, and I have not opened it.
All right, bet.
That's the way it was delivered.
You lying.
Not lying. Totally not lying.
Oh, all right, that's not,
that's not straight.
That's not straight. That's straight, but that's not straight. Are you serious, dude?
Yeah, I'm like, dude, I pulled up, I was like, no. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, this thing came all the way from Australia. We spent 2 years doing this.
Right, it is.
And then here it is sitting in my driveway with the box wide open, sitting on its side.
Outside, bro.
Oh my God, dude.
Well,
Like,
shout out to whoever delivered this. Thanks.
yeah, thank you, DHL.
Right.
All right, so I don't know what this table's rated for, but we definitely fixing to find out.
I mean, what better way to find out than, you know, a one-of-a-kind, one-off.
Hey, we don't know how much the thing weighs yet, but we are gonna find that out too.
Remember,
There's a chance. Think I can actually lift the thing. Lift with your back in a jerking motion. Is that what it? In a swift and jerking motion.
Take your legs totally out of the equation. Lift with your lower back in a jerking, twisting motion. Ah!
It's nice and oily too, so that way you can drop it easier.
oh, beautiful.
Nope.
That was a tense couple of seconds.
That was tense too. Oh, that was sketch.
In case y'all didn't see that, which I don't know how you did, the table kind of tacoed for a second.
No, the table was definitely getting ready. All right, so we're gonna get to that in a minute. Also in the box, these are fresh LA sleeves, Blue Turd, right on the front. So we got a whole extra of set 6 sleeves. And then, oh, I'm missing a sleeve over here. I was like, we got 5 sleeves. No, there's 6 ones right here. This was probably one of the coolest things. So Darren over at Bullet Race Engineering, which is who made the block, 3D printed me this little billet SHO block model. That is really cool. Now, why in the world would anybody want to build a Ford Taurus SHO billet block? I'm literally the only person in the world that would ever buy one. I mean, if you would want to buy one, like hit me up, you know, blueturdtaurus@gmail.com, like whatever you want to do, but nobody's gonna be buying one of these things. But let me get into the details of exactly why we took all of this time and went to this great length to build this block. So guys, right here we have the full new block from Bullet Race. And as you can see, this thing is mighty different compared to a stock SHO Taurus block. Now, these things were incredibly strong. We ran well over 1,000 horsepower on one of these and didn't really have much issue. So this is an old motor that I had back when we ran Streetcar Takeover Denver. And this is a 3.3 liter, which started its life as a 3.2 liter. The only difference is the bore. So this bore is a 93 millimeter bore. When we step over to the nice new billet block, we'll do the whole fist measurement. You got a whole fister, not a fister.
Got the wild child.
That's definitely like an accurate form of measurement, right?
That's very
like
accurate.
whole fist, 9/10 of a fist.
Take it home to mom. Let it stay the night. Straight up.
All right, so this thing has the ability to go all the way up to a 4 liter in displacement, depending on bore. For the SHO guys out there, like, you know, Kyle over here, he's an SHO guy. Hardcore, like, he knows 3 liters and 3.2s and 3.3s were like, that's all that ever happened. We could take this thing up to a 4 liter with a completely stock crank. This particular motor is right now, I believe, set up for a 3.5 liter. I want to say this is a 95 millimeter bore in comparison to a factory 89 or 92 bore. A couple things you guys will notice is this thing has no water jackets. So we only have spots for our 8 head studs and our oil drain back from the cylinder heads and our oil feed. But there is no water in this block like this one where you have water jackets. We did this for a couple reasons. So when you are drag racing, if you ever do lose a head gasket, at this kind of boost pressure, RPM, and power, water that hits a combustion turns into literally a torch. You will torch a block and a cylinder head very fast, and you can really total and wreck your car because you will spray oil, water, everything all over the place, and not only you're gonna lose your motor, but you might even lose your whole car. So on this kind of application, we're not gonna be running any water inside the block, but what we will be doing is welding the heads shut on the bottom side and then passing water through the heads on the top. So no water in here, we'll have heads up top that are fully cooled, so we will have the ability to keep the thing cool while drag racing. So looking at the backside of the factory motor, this is our oil galley, right? So the oil is fed in a bunch of different ways, from the oil pickup tube over to an oil filter housing on the side, and it's really in a bad location because it runs really low to the block, and if you have a failure like a rod, you can actually hit that main galley, and then you'll lose. It just makes it hell to repair the block later. So what we've done on the billet motor, there is no oil galley back here. We have a clean out, but there is no oil galley. The oil will actually be fed into the top of this motor right here. So we moved the oil galley up from its original location, and we will be feeding with, I believe, a -10 inlet into the center of the block, which will feed the mains primarily, and then oil will come up to the heads like factory. So all of everything has got a larger oil bore because this thing will be running a full dry sump oiling system. So comparative to a stock block and architecture, it's actually pretty much the same. So we left all the same mounting bosses, all of the same bolts holes on the front of the motor over here. So everything's pretty much going to be the same. We're not going to be having that water pump hole. Like I said, there is no water in this motor, but coming over to the billet, we still retain the 2 bolt holes. So it is completely identical to a factory motor. But where the real magic happens is what's on the bottom side of this block, where all of the strength we gained in this motor. Yeah. So the biggest change we had by redoing this motor, which was the entire reason I did the billet, this uses a factory 2-bolt main. Basically meaning there's a main cap that goes over this main journal right here, and under a lot of RPM and a lot of power, these caps like to shift and move around, and then you have problems with oil pressure because your bearing clearance is not the same, and eventually you're stressing the block so much that you are going to develop a crack, and then the block is done. Basically meaning you could snap a crankshaft, you could crack a block, you could do a whole lot of things and essentially just lose the car that you spent all the time on building. And especially my car, it's got a lot of sentimental value because, like Kyle was saying earlier,
Block lives matter.
block lives.
I said it to be alright.
There you go. But yeah, like 12 years I've had this car and you can't replace it. It's my first car. So what we did on the billet block compared to this thing, this is set up kind of like a Nissan GTR. What we did here is, instead of having 2 bolts per main, we have 4 bolts per main, as well as hardened steel dowel pins, as well as a full bed plate. So now, instead of having 4 individual main caps, we have an entire plate that holds the main caps in place, basically sandwiching this crankshaft into the center of the block, meaning this is the main cap is now a part of the block. It's not even bolted to the block, it's a part of the block. So this literally cannot move. How much horsepower can a setup make like that? Well, Bullet is being a little low on their rating. We're rating this for like 2,000 horsepower right now. That's only because we have a stock crank, which we'll get into in a little bit. But blocks like this, in this shape and this kind of design, have been known to make over 3,000 horsepower, which is pretty crazy. I mean, 3,000 horsepower out of anything that's not big displacement like 500, 600 cubic inches is absolutely insane. So another cool thing about the crankshaft is that, like I said, this is a factory crankshaft. But another reason we did the block was because the SHO guys will know that there is no main bearings for this thing anymore. Absolutely 0 main bearings. People pay like $500 for a set of main bearings. I know so because I own a bunch in my personal collection. So what we have done here is took this crank, cut it, modified it to where it now fits all Toyota 2JZ bearings. So the availability to bearings is now widely opened, And we're still using a factory rod journal, so we'll still be able to use the same bearings, which actually come out of a 2.5 liter Subaru. Using 2.5 liter Subaru rod bearings. As you can see, the bottom of this motor is completely freaking different. I mean, doesn't even look necessarily alike. So we know a factory oil pan is not gonna fit on this thing anymore. So open up the box, and you gotta go into the box of the box to get the last part of this puzzle. You gotta be smarter than the wrapper. Some would argue right now that I'm definitely not smarter than the wrapper.
No. The wrapper just has resistance.
All right. So this right here is our brand new dry sump oil pan. Like I mentioned, we are not going to be running any kind of factory oil pump with this deal. Fully dry sump. This thing will bolt. I don't know if it's directional or not. It don't look directional. Check that out. So what we're going to be doing here is each one of these is basically a oil pickup, right? And our oil pump, our external oil pump, will be sucking the oil out of here, keeping the oil pan completely dry, putting all of that oil into a external reservoir where we don't have to fight with any kind of sloshing, oil pressure drops, foaminess, like all of the oil pressure problems go out of the window. All because we're using a dry sump oiling system on this thing. It's really just not worth trying to modify a factory oiling system to work on such a nice motor. It's, you know, you basically just go all the way. Damn, look at the machining in that. Like, that is beautiful.
That looks amazing.
That's crazy. Not the way we're supposed to be doing it, but the first thing you do after you get a really expensive billet block is you start hitting it with a hammer. It's like step number one.
Bro, it's the American way.
It's coming. Oh, all right. There we go. So there you can see, drop that washer. There you can see the full design on the lower cradle. So as I was saying earlier, you have your two bolt holes, as well as a hardened steel dowel pin in between the bolts, located down in there. So with all of these fasteners, it ain't moving. Down. We do not have a finished rod bearing yet, but as you can see, the mains were cut and they look beautiful, absolutely beautiful. We still have a factory Taurus SHO oil pump on the front, but it is completely gutted. We won't be using it for anything other than holding the front main seal. So that's basically the whole job of this oil pump now, is just to hold a seal. Well guys, I'm super freaking pumped that this thing is here. I mean, all the way from Australia. This is an eye-opener. This is a huge part of the Blue Turd YouTube channel and our race program, and hopefully this thing takes me places where I never thought I could go. The whole idea of this build is that we want to race extreme front wheel drive, X front wheel drive, and compete with these Hondas that have been ruling the class for years. Just released a couple days ago was the top 10 list of X front wheel drive cars in the world, and all 10 top 10 cars are in the 7-second zone. And we are talking less than 2/10 separating everybody. The fastest person I want to say was a 788 to it, and then the slowest person being a 798. So this billet block is definitely going to be able to up our game a little bit, have something completely different than the whole class of Hondas, and hopefully allows us to compete in a Ford Taurus. So guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget, build the impossible. Catch you guys later.